In this tutorial video, I'm going to start by showing you the half double crochet and follow that with the double crochet stitch. We're also going to discuss turning chains and straight edge borders. So grab your hook, crochet 22 chains, and meet me back here. So to start, we are going to crochet into the 20th chain. So this was 22, 21, this is 20. To do the half double crochet, we are going to yarn over, insert our hook into the 20th stitch, yarn over, and pull that back through. Now you can see I have 3 loops on my hook. From here, I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. It can be tricky and your yarn may get snagged. Locating the next stitch, I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook, yarn over, and pull through. Yarn over and pull through. So I now have 2 stitches on here, so that will be my first, that will be my second. Again, I yarn over, pull through, and I kind of twist on the foundation chain especially, so that when my hook comes through, it's already behind the yarn. So I yarn over and I do kind of a little, I'm not doing the knitting, I'm still letting my hook do the work. But I have a nice combination of yarn over, twisting my hands a little, coming back. Now when I go in through, I'm already behind and just have to do a little motion to pull it through. Now that may just be something that comes with time as you slowly practice your stitches. And yarn over. Sometimes it can be difficult to identify the next stitch, especially if we tend to pull our work. We may think that we're supposed to go into this stitch, but if I do that, see how it kind of looks a little bit funny there? I'm actually going to do one more so we can see down the chain. Or 2. So if I do this and I look at it, I can see I have 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and then 2 here. That's actually called a stitch increase. We'll talk more about that later. If you don't catch that and you continue down, you will end up with 21 stitches and your work will slowly increase. We do use those for making hats and rounds, and occasionally as we're doing like a zigzag pattern, again, we'll talk more about increases later. So we're not going to be pulling and looking at our work this way, Keep your chain straight, and then you can kind of see that your stitches are coming out of this hole already. So we're going to yarn over and go into our next space. Snagged myself a little there. And again, using my thumb and a little of my pointer to really control that hook. And now we're at our final stitch. Remember, this is a slip stitch, so if like me, you need to make it a little bigger, it can still shift. But when we finish, we'll give it a little snug tug. So again, your work should not be curling. Identifying the stitch, you're looking for these 3 yarn strands. They'll be coming out of the space where your hook goes to crochet. And from the back, you still have the 1 strand, 2, and 3. You now have these 2 little legs down here as well, going into the chain. So first things first, let's count our work. I like to count this way because it gives me the ability to see what my last stitch is. Is it this one, over here? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So this is our chain 2 going up right there. So now we'll need to chain or crochet 20 stitches back. So how do we turn our work? Similar to single crochet, we're going to add a turning chain. In single crochet, it was a turning chain of 1. In half double, it's usually a turning chain of 2. If you feel more comfortable using 1 or even 3, that is up to you. I take my hook out and then I turn my work. I have a thing about a twisted turning chain. Okay, so crochet rules say your turning chain is the first stitch, meaning we no longer need to work into this stitch. We will be doing our first stitch into the second stitch. So the turning chain is 1, this is 2. Except, I hate that. I do not like the way it ends up looking. And so when I was learning how to crochet, I was bothered by this, and I kept asking my friend why my work had holes in it. And these aren't holes at all. This is the proper way. You get a very straight edge border doing it this way. But these just bothered me. And please remember, it's your craft. You can do it your own way. So doing it this way, I still like my borders. And I feel like there's no gaps in the work. If you choose to do it this way, when you crochet back, you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So the top of your turning chain gets crocheted into. That is why I also take my hook out and then put it back in. I feel that it makes it nicer and easier if you are crocheting into it, which in future double crochet, I do that. So I just got in the habit of doing it all the time so that I didn't need to think about it. So personally, I am still going to crochet into that stitch. That is still stitch 1 to me while I am doing the half double crochet. Now, I don't want this video to be too long, so I am going to continue to crochet all the way down, but I am going to speed it up. Please feel free to pause, get caught up, whatever you need to do. Sometimes this one can be tricky. So if I need to, I'll just kind of squeeze in that way and pull it through. And then you will chain 2, turn your work, and continue to work back. Quite honestly, this is the lesson I'm really excited for. The double crochet is one of my favorite stitches. Once you've mastered all of these basic techniques, you can go on to create new stitches and learn almost any stitch that you see out there because they're all just a variation of these stitches. So let's get started by creating a foundation chain of 23. For the double crochet, we are going to count down 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and crochet into the 20th stitch. For this, just like the half double, we're going to start by yarning over and inserting our hook. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over. This time, we're only going to pull through 2 of those stitches instead of all 3. From here, with 2 loops on your hook, we yarn over again and pull through. So the reason that we need the additional chains on that foundation chain is because of the height of these stitches. As you grow from single to half double to double, the stitch gets higher and taller, so you need to account for that. So let's do it again. We yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over and pull through. We have those same 3 loops on our hook. We yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. We are going to do this all the way down our chain so that by the end we have 20 double crochets. Plus, don't forget, we have a little chain over here. So I'm going to pause to have a look at it for a moment. Looking at our stitches now, you can see that there is more of a gap there. And when I flip the work, you can still easily identify that post. This is the stitch that I use most. I love using it for blankets and for cardigans. And of course, a bunch of variations of it. This is the stitch primarily used in granny squares. So once we master this, we'll be on our way to being able to make our very own granny squares. I will, of course, record a video explaining the process for everybody. If there's anything that you want to see, please let me know. I'm very open to feedback. I remember when I was learning, I had so many questions. Please remember to always give yourself a lot of grace. Also remember, this is a relaxing art. So if you're not relaxing while you're doing it, we shouldn't be stressing out about the things we're not doing right. We're learning. It took me a little while to get my tension down. I actually began by making a infinity scarf out of a puff stitch, which if you want to see, is more like that. And then you would yarn over again, pull through again, and then crochet into your next. So I had done an entire scarf out of these puff stitches, which took a lot of yarn. And they were loose and probably up to here. They were not even. You can see I have like kind of nice even lines now, and mine were all over the place. I had every loop was a different size. That's okay. By the time I finished that infinity shawl or scarf, the other side was completely really nice. Like the tension I had really learned. And so it was really fun when I connected it, because it was one side was imperfect and the other side was, I'm gonna use the word perfect, but we all know that's a general term, especially when it comes to art. Okay, so coming up to the last two. Made for a neat project though. I kind of wish I still had it. It was over 10 years ago, so. Now remember, this is a slip stitch, so it will change in size and you can use that to your advantage if you need. There you go. And give it a little snug tug. And there you have it. Now, another thing that I often hear from crocheters is they can get upset about their speed. Please give yourself grace. It takes time. The first time I made a Cabbage Patch hat, which I ended up making hundreds of, the first time I made that, the loops that are in the last 3 to 4 rounds of the hat took me over an hour. By the time I had made hundreds of those hats, the entire hat took me an hour or less. So your speed will develop in time. Okay, so first I want to go back. You guessed it. We're going to count stitches. So at this point, we can also count the posts. So you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and our chain. Perfect. From here, we are going to chain 3 and turn our work. Now, just like I said with half double crochet, our turning chain counts as a first stitch. I did not count it in the half double as a personal preference. I do in my double crochet. Let me show you why. Looking at these two swatches, you can see just how different their edges are. This one is achieved by skipping that first stitch. By not skipping that stitch, it can create a little bit of extra bulk in here. When we skip the stitch, we need to crochet into the chain. And as I mentioned, that's why I turn my hook when I turn my work. Sometimes when you're learning, it can be challenging to know if we're going to be inserting our hook here into that space or here into this space. I want to show you how they look different when you pull the turning chain up versus sideways. Sideways is what opens that stitch and that hole up, but this is the first stitch. It is much larger, and when you pull it up, that other space disappears and you can see better. And remember, we only need the 2 strands on top. There are some patterns that will tell you to go around all. But for now, we're just focused on learning our basics. So yarn over and insert your hook into the second stitch. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, we are going to do that all the way down the row. See here? Little yarn snag. It happens. Okay, so we're coming up to the end. This part can be confusing for some. So let's put this down. I'm going to start by, you guessed it, counting my stitches. Remember that our turning chain counts as 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So, right here, there you have it. Looking at your work this way can be slightly discouraging because it looks as though we have a rounded edge. Once we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, we will be crocheting into that chain, which is going to lift it up, and that's what gives us our straight edge. So now I'm going to crochet down my 3rd row. Yarn over into the 2nd stitch, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. I'm going to crochet all the way down this row, and I'll meet you back at the end. Now that I'm at the end, it's a good time to go back and count those stitches, because if you take your piece and stretch it up, it can look like you're done. Counting these stitches, remember that the turning chain is stitch 1. You'll see that there's only 19. So I'm going to yarn over, and you see this little space right in here? I'm going to put my hook in there and complete one more double crochet. Doing this is going to give me all 20 stitches and a nice straight edge. Looking at our work from this angle, we can really see how this edge is beginning to straighten out. And when I come back across on this side, this is my turning chain, and you can see that it's not a nice crisp corner. So this is why when you finish something like a blanket or a granny square, some people may do an edging, because to edge your work is going to take this and pull it out straight again for you. So that would give you nice crisp corners. And there you have it. That is your lesson on the double crochet.